everyone. I am Diana, and this is my bad buddy Jess, and we want to welcome you again to our second episode.
Unfiltered and unarmored.
Just a reminder, we are just two women veterans out here unpacking our life after the military, trying to heal, rediscover ourselves with the chaos of life, one conversation at a time. That being said, how's your day going, Jess?
I volunteered again today with my lady veterans. Loved it. Trying to relax in this heat.
Yeah, I could relate to that, but I actually have a quick story of what happened to me. I am a very hyper vigilant person. I know we talk about this and probably I'll get more into it, but I actually did the low crawl today. I had somebody come knocking on my door
No.
and they rang the doorbell and I just didn't want to deal with them. I had no idea who it was. And I just kind of low crawled, turned everything off and waited for them to leave. Then I text my
Uh,
husband, I'm not opening the door. And I got a text message real quick that said, don't worry about it. It's just an internet person. They shouldn't be there. I usually do kind of get paranoid when people that I don't know come to my house. And I think we talked that in our first episode about it. So this is a funny story it just happened today.
that sounds like some shit I'd do.
No, tell me about it. So, for our podcast today, we're going to talk about boundaries because I think that's something that really does matter. And trying to talk about this, the first episode, I was shocked to discover the reason why, at least I don't have any boundaries with people. And it's so hard for us to deal with boundaries. I think because we were trained not to have them. If you really think about it, ever since we started basic training, we have
Mhm.
no boundaries. We're always told what to do. So, you know that phrase, we're always voluntold to do things
Mm.
like cutting the
Yep.
grass, picking up trash
Mm.
around the trash can, and you're either PMCs in trucks or Humvees, or you're gone formation, or you're changing a tire. You never know.
Yes, exactly. One of the most disgusting things that I hated doing when I didn't smoke, we were forced to go pick up cigarette butts from like around the smoke shack or even around trash bins. I was like, I don't fucking smoke. And if I did, I'm not stupid enough to throw it on the ground. Why would I do that? It just used to piss me off so hard, like nasty.
But if you think about it, that's part of not having boundaries. You can't say, no, I'm not going to do that. You bitch and complain about it, but you still end up doing it. I hated
Yeah.
doing that too. Funny story, I did try to smoke, not because I wanted to, but because it just felt like you would always be doing all the work. And the people that
Hmm.
smoked had a million breaks.
Girl, I know. That's why I occasionally did smoke.
Really? I remember the first time I ever had a cigarette. It was the only time. Me and my battle buddies went outside to drink to this Mexican place called Angeles. And it was super funny because they were like, Diana, have you ever smoked? And I'm like, no. She's like, girl, you need to fucking smoke. And they gave me a menthol cigarette at that to be the
Oh,
first one.
that's rough,
No, it
man.
was
Right in the deep end.
I look like an idiot. I didn't know how to inhale at all. Like I really thought I was really smoking and I was a hot shit, but they were laughing at me because they were like, you're just wasting the cigarette. You not even know how to inhale. And I was like, well, I don't know. What is it supposed to feel? I've never done it before. So I learned real quick that I was not a smoker.
Oh God, that's terrible.
Oh my God, yeah. But it is a funny story, but I did hate picking up cigarette butts now that you said that. I think another issue that we also had in being in the military is that we had to respect the rank.
Hmm.
And because we respected the rank and we were told to do whatever the hell we had to do, we had no boundaries. They just expect us to say yes all the time. And it was really hard for us to kind of like say no. I felt like most of the time we had to put the mission first. So we kind of lost our identity in it. And we never realized that this is the reason why we did not have boundaries.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like it's really hard for us to have boundaries because we were taught not to have any of them. It was really hard. We had to control our emotions, couldn't be
Hmm.
weak. You always have to be available. You had to put everything in the back of the burner and just keep on going every day, 24/7. Boom, boom. And in the middle of all that chaos, they forget to tell us that we are allowed to have boundaries with other people. And that's
Hmm.
all really crazy reality.
Hmm.
And not to
Hmm.
mention where we live.
Yes.
Think about it. You work on post, you live on post. You're very lucky if you live outside post. All your time is on post. So where are the
Hmm.
boundaries there?
Yeah, there were times when we were forced to live on post during training.
Mhm.
Even when I was an NCO and a senior NCO, we had to live in the barracks or, I'm not kidding, a hotel. But that was when I was a senior NCO, so that's a little
Oh,
different.
that's an Air Force commodity because the rest of us had to stay in a barracks room.
Shut up.
Is it
But
true?
my first duty station, I lived in an apartment and then I moved on base because it was close. When we went to our second duty station, we lived off base because we didn't want to live on base because there was so much drama. Neighbors narking on other neighbors. They were always in our business, even down to cutting the grass. So it was so stupid. And sometimes you get letters in the mail. Sometimes you get a neighbor that was like, "Are you going to mow your lawn?" No. Do you want to mow it? Are you going to quit spreading my business? Okay, well, I'm not going to mow my grass until you do that.
Think about it. Where are the boundaries there? In anything
Yeah.
that you said, we don't have any boundaries.
Mm-mm. The culture was go talk shit about your neighbors, be dramatic. That's okay. Because we had no boundaries. You're absolutely right.
It's something that we didn't realize. Like we just
Mm-hmm.
didn't have any boundaries. Either you live on post, they knew where you were at all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's really no separation between your job, your coworkers, and your environment, like you
Mm-hmm.
said. And
Yeah.
it's freaking amazing to think that we never think about it. And when we get out, we realize like, damn, why is it so hard for us to have boundaries? Because we
Mm-hmm.
never really had them.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to basic training. Whatever service you were in, your personality was just crushed because they had to break you down and then build you back up. When your drill sergeant is yelling at your face, telling you that you're the scum of the earth, you kind of lose
The
that boundary, I
self-preservation.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I feel like the one thing that the drill sergeants, when I was in basic training, that it was really hard for them to do is like when I talk, I roll my eyes. And I would get smoked all the time for rolling my eyes. And I told my drill sergeant, look, my parents discipline me all the time because I roll my eyes. And no matter how many push ups and how many burpees and whatever you want to give me, I will do them. But that is not going to change. And you're right. Ever since basic training, it's really hard.
Hmm.
Together, we're sleeping, open showers, the
Yep.
bays. I mean, come on, where is that personal space? I would be the first one in the shower and just go grab a shower in the corner by myself, try to wash my hair, do everything real quick, and get out because I did not like anybody to see me.
Yeah.
Like it was just like so crazy. But it comes to the realization that we never had boundaries at all
Mm-mm.
while we were in the military.
No.
And then the crazy part is if you guys go to the VA or you go to the doctor, they're like, oh my God, you need to have boundaries between you and your family, your friends, whatever. Put a boundary. No, lady, or no, sir, whoever you're talking to, like, we didn't have any boundaries. You guys
Mm-mm.
taught us not to have any. So
Hmm.
why all of a sudden we're supposed to have this crazy epiphany that we have to have boundaries? And I don't know
Yeah,
if you ladies feel the same way, Jess, or you if you do, or the ladies listening to. I have issues with boundaries sometimes.
I totally do.
And I just never realized why until maybe I'm learning this with you ladies in this episode.
I didn't realize until this week when we've been doing the podcast, like, shit, like, I know why I have boundary issues. I thought it was something I did, but like, I can remember after basic training, I was very introverted. My actual career field, well, there's a lot of introverts. So, all the introverts out there unite. Ooh, it was very difficult for me to come out of my shell. So, this man in a position of authority went straight to me and was like, you, why are you smiling? Why are you blah, blah, blah? In my head, I was like, what the fuck? And I wanted to cry. I was like, my God, like, I'm trying to find a seat and sit down. And this man is like breaking my spirit even more, you know? So, there, once again, is the boundaries. I can't even be who I am. Like, personality be gone. Like, you can't have it
Yeah.
anymore. You have to be a robot.
That's part of the thing is that you learn
Hmm.
psychologically, like prepared to respect the rank.
Yeah. Hmm.
You know, I actually, now that we're in basic training, I have a story. I used to love being the last person to the chow hall or to the defect. In the army, the last person that sat down to eat, as soon as they were done, if the other people were done or not, everybody had to get up
Oh,
and leave. But I became such a fast eater, which is very bad for you, but
you're an
it's super
asshole.
fun. I said it in my first podcast, in the first episode. I could be a little mean.
Oh my gosh.
I used to love pulling fire guard because I could get people in trouble. And I know it's a bitch move of me, and it really was. But they did it to me so many times that I got tired of that. And I think I do have that personality where it's like, don't fuck with me because I will get back to you somehow, but I would take
Yeah.
my time. So I have plenty
Nice.
of stories that I could tell you guys, but we're gonna continue on this whole boundary issues because it all ties in into like we
Hmm.
never really had boundaries the whole time we were in the military, and then we're
Hmm.
expected to have boundaries with our families. And how do you tell your mom, "Oh, I'm sorry, mom, I need some time off from you,"
That's a tough one.
or a family member, or your brother or your sister? Some of us are very close to our families, some of us are not, and it's okay to feel that way you feel because I
Hmm.
feel like when you are in a family situation, the boundaries is pretty much non-existent, like in the
Mhm.
military. If you think about it,
Yeah.
your family expects you to stop what you're doing and figure out the problem. And then it gets
Mhm.
even worse because you're my strong child because you were in the military and you're supposed
Mhm.
to have your shit figured out.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
It's not always like that.
So with my brothers, we're very blunt. We can say anything to each other and it's okay. We really do cuss at each other. My younger brother followed me in the Air Force. He has zero filter, which I can respect, but at the same time, when I outranked him, I was like, hey, maybe say it this way. But
Yeah.
that didn't work. But when it came to like spouses, because like I said in the first one, I think maybe I didn't. I don't know. Paul is my third and final spouse. He is amazing. I've never had to worry about boundaries with him because he respects boundaries. But in my first two marriages, it was very difficult because I was still active duty and they were not. It was like, well, you're in the Air Force. You can do blah, blah, blah. Well, no, actually, I can't. Like you said in the last podcast, we're airmen, soldiers, sailors, Marines, coasties, 24/7. Like, we can't just say, "Oh, no, I'm not going to do that." Like, if we get
Yeah.
called in for a whiz quiz in the middle of the night, we have to go do it. We have to go piss in a cup.
Yeah, that's a boundary issue because our
Mhm,
spouses put that boundary, but we cannot have it. Because you're
mhm.
right, we're on duty 24/7.
Yeah.
It's true. Our spouses expect us to be at home, especially us
Mhm,
women. We need to take care of what we got to take care of. They also work, but they want a home, a
mhm,
wife. And at some point, they want to put boundaries. And then we get mad because we're choosing either our job or our
mhm.
partner. And then maybe that's why we have so many marriages and we don't quite fit because they want to put boundaries, but we don't have
Mhm.
any because we really don't know. Like we can't just be like, nah, I'm not going to go to work today.
Yeah, right? It would have been great to be able to say, "Fuck it, I'm not going to do this exercise.
Oh
Oh, I'm
shit.
gonna stay home and watch TV and lay in bed all day."
Girl, you couldn't even get one day off sick call if you wanted to. You were
Ugh,
throwing up, had the BGs, whatever. You still had to
yup.
go to work. So
Oh, yeah.
you really learn to have no boundaries and no self-respect for each other. I feel like moms give you
Mm,
the biggest guilt trips, especially if you're a daughter, maybe if you're a son too.
mhm.
But then there's like,
Yeah.
oh, but I'm your mother and you haven't come and seen
Mhm.
me in such a long time. And just a guilt trip. It makes you feel like super bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's kind of like, no, it's not because I don't want to be there. It's just like I'm going through my own stuff right now. And I
Mhm.
am being a good daughter and not letting you in because I know you're my mother and somehow, some way you're going to worry about me. But it's pointless for me to try to tell you because you're not going to understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, and we're trying to protect them, and they don't see that as protecting.
And then they always give you the, oh, but you've changed so much. No, I haven't changed. I'm just learning to become a better version of myself. I'm
Mhm.
learning
Yep.
again to say no and that it's okay not to
Mhm.
be available for you 24/7.
Yeah, and it's
So
okay not to be okay.
yeah, it is. And then you go to friendships, and some of us stay friends in the military, cool, veterans, we kind of understand each other. But then you
Mhm.
have like the friends that you've known your whole life since you were a kid. They don't
Yeah.
understand. And it just kind of sucks because you still want to have that relationship you had with them. But at the same
Mhm.
time, they make it so difficult for you. I don't know if you have that same thing.
Yeah, I can't say that I actually have any deep relationships with anyone from when I was a kid. I wish I did. I try to be very supportive of the friends that I had growing up if I've been able to reconnect with them. I guess it's not the same as the people that I was in the trenches with, so to speak, you
Yeah,
know?
I get it. I get it. It's like I have this one friend that I've known since I was in middle school. We're still good friends,
Mhm.
but we're at different levels, you know?
Yeah.
Then I also have this one friend that I recently reconnected through Instagram. And the only reason why I reconnected with her is because she stayed in touch with one of my cousins. And last Christmas,
Oh.
I got to see my cousin and he's like, hey, have you heard from this person? And I'm like, no. And it's not because I'm above not getting staying with the relationships. It's just I feel they're not going to understand where I'm coming from. And who I
Yeah.
was, like in a high school, is a completely person of who I am right now.
Mhm.
So it's okay to outgrow friendships or whatever. However,
Mhm.
I gave it a try. She was one of my only friends that I really looked out for because it was just a bond, you know? The crazy part is that in a real heart to heart conversation, she told me that she was upset at me and that she regretted all these years not talking to me because she felt like I abandoned her because I joined the military. Believe it or not, the same situation I have with my brother, with my little sister. They feel
Yeah.
like at some point I abandoned them. So
Mhm.
sometimes it's not that we abandon them. is that we have to outgrow the life that we have. We have to
Yeah.
literally grow up. And that's when it finally hit me that maybe they felt that way, but they never were able to express it to me. So how am I supposed to know?
Yeah, that's
So
not your fault. You made a very adult decision at
yeah.
a very important point in your life. You know, the 18, 19-year-old range. You're on the cusp of being a kid, but you're actually an adult. It's not fair to you to put that guilt trip on you that you abandoned them. I understand your siblings might feel that way because they are younger than you. I totally could understand that, but you were doing what was best for you. And I know you already know this, but other people might not see it that way, may not realize it yet, that you were doing the best you could do for yourself at that time. Was there another option? Maybe, maybe not.
I completely get what you're saying. It all ties up with the whole boundary things. People are expect to have access to you 24/7
Hmm.
and they don't understand what you're going through. And like we all joined the military for different reasons. Maybe some of us had a hard time in life. Some of
Hmm.
us had it good, but we just followed footsteps of our grandparents or our parents or whatever. Others just wanted to try something different. And it really didn't matter the reason why you joined. You did. And you
Hmm.
outgrew your past version of yourself.
Yeah.
So it turns into like this boundary where people think that they know you and you're not allowed
Yeah.
to change to become a better version of yourself.
Yes, that right there.
I think this is why a lot of us really do drown because we really don't know, understand what is about with friendships, family drama, all the thing that goes in is just like super crazy. But
Hmm.
with that being said, that's not the only time that we have drama with family. Sometimes the drama and the boundaries issues, like you said, is closer to home with our spouses and with our kids. I
Yeah.
cannot say that I have boundary issue with kids because, like I said before, I wasn't fortunate enough to have them. But I do have certain boundaries with my husband that we kind of like tiptoe around each other. But then at the same time, you have to learn to give each other that space.
Hmm.
So, what do you think, Jess? Do you have any boundary issues with your children?
Like I said before, he's 25, so he's grown. When we first got here in the South, he was going from adolescent to whatever that stage is. I get it that it's pubescent, but whatever that crazy ass stage is of childhood where they're like little demons. And I'm not talking about the 2 and 3-year-old, I'm talking about the teenage years.
Teenagers?
Yeah, where he was calling me mommy one day and then bowing up on me the next day, like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm doing it. Now, like I said, my son is 25 and sometimes he forgets I'm still his mom. Do I care if he cusses? Hell no, I don't care because I cuss. It's whatever. If he ever said anything derogatory to me or at me, I would be livid. And I think he understands that's my boundary. Has he come at me with attitude that he get with his friends? Yes. Do I correct it? Yes. I shut that shit down because I have been spoken to like that before just because I'm a female. Males have thought it's okay to speak to me like I am less than, and that is not okay. I tell him all the time, I'm like, you will not talk to me that way. You will not talk to other humans that way. You will treat them with respect. If you're like talking shit to each other, cool, man, that's all right. I don't care. But do not ever disrespect someone and be hateful. Even if you're joking around, it doesn't sound like you're joking around. Don't do that shit. So that's my boundary and the boundary I put on him and the way he speaks to other people.
Yeah, well, at least that's a great boundary to have because he has to recognize you are the parent.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
always tell my friends it's cool to be friends with your kids. I know a lot of people are going to give me crap about this, but the way I see it is like I always tell my mom, parent is supposed to teach you, is supposed to clothe you, feed you, educate you, and teach you how to become an adult.
Hmm.
If you ladies have done that, you've done more than enough to make your child like not depend on you anymore. You did your job. There's parents sometimes that don't have those boundaries with your kid and they just want
Yeah.
to be friends with them. And I
Hmm.
think that's a big issue because your kid, like you said, is going to talk to you however they want to. And that's when you're going to
Yeah.
get mad. And that's why I always have the analogy and sorry, analogy. My Hispanic comes out sometimes. But like I said, like if you let somebody slap you the first time, they're gonna do it again.
Mm,
And they'll
mm,
do it the
yeah.
third time. And by the third time that they slap you, you're gonna say something. They have no respect for you because you didn't put that boundary to begin with.
Mm,
So I'm not talking about a literally slap, but it's just kind of like an analogy. Like if you let somebody do something to you first and you don't correct them at the time, it
mhm,
is going to become a problem and it's going
mhm,
to be harder for you to deal with and it's going to take more time. And that's when we start having this whole epiphany that, damn, we should have put a boundary in the beginning. And now you're not going to
mhm.
have a boundary because they disrespect respected you. And that,
Yeah.
ladies, is not cool. I can say my boundary issues with my husband for me in my marriage. I feel like a lot of us feel in the social media era that we're in that a marriage is supposed to be super perfect. I feel
Mm,
like everybody goes online and sees like these beautiful couples, and you have to have the perfect shape of body, and you have to go on these amazing vacations and everything.
right.
And we are seeing this stuff and thinking that that is like a great marriage and everything. But, marriage is a hard work. It's something that you have
Mm-hmm.
to work at every day. You got to put certain boundaries. You got to work at it. You got to make sure you compliment each other. You got to do it. Like I said before, sometimes you're not at 100, but you need somebody to pick you up. Sometimes you
Yeah.
need to be the one that picks up your partner.
Mm-hmm.
And it's beautiful when you have all that stuff, but you also need that time where it's okay to tell your partner or tell your kid, hey buddy, I couldn't make it to your game today because I had a terrible headache. And if I would have gone to your game, I'm giving you the courtesy not to be miserable and make your game miserable because I'm going to be
Mm-hmm.
having a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's okay for you to say, you know what, I'm showing you love in this way, but I'm putting a boundary. You're gonna have a bad time if I go. And you could do that with friendships. You could do that with like your parents. You could do that. Sometimes it's better not to go because when you do go and you have a crazy flare up, then you're the crazy one.
Oof. Yeah.
One of my issues is I'm a very hyper vigilant person. I'm always looking around what's going on. And the only time I really do feel safe is with my husband. I feel like he has my six, I got his 12, and then we're rolling. We
Mm-hmm.
know what's going on. Even though people think that is a crazy trait to have, at the same time, I feel like we should normalize that being
Mm-hmm.
a way that you love your children, that you love your spouse, that you love your family because you are worried about what's going on around you and see things better that they cannot see. And that's your way of showing love. And I know it sounds crazy, but I think that is a beautiful way to show somebody that you care about them because you're always
Mm-hmm.
looking out for them.
I don't see anything wrong with it, but we have lived through the same culture, so I get it.
Yeah. But for our spouses, like in your case, it's never been in the military, they probably don't understand why you're always like aware of everything.
He understands because I overshare, and I'm okay with that. I needed him to know why I do some of the things that I do. That has worked for me, and I totally understand where other people can't do that, and that is their right to keep things to themselves. That is totally cool. I need to go back to what you said about social media and your boundary with that.
Yeah.
I love that you said that people's lives aren't perfect and it's not what you display on social media. I love my husband so much. He works from home. I tell him, hey, for self care reasons, you need to go hang with your bros, go fishing, go do whatever. But you need to go do that. But I hate it when he is gone. Like, it makes me so freaking sad when he actually leaves. I don't post that shit on social media. I'm not like, oh, I love my husband so much, because when I used to do that with prior relationships, it was I wish my life was like this. I wish my life was this perfect and that my spouse felt the way that I feel about them. But I don't need to put that shit on social media
Yeah.
because he already knows exactly how I feel about him. And I would hope that no one else would ever compare themselves to other people and their social media accounts because a lot of it is just bullshit and fake.
Yes.
Especially celebrities, they're looking for that follow and that like, and they're going to put all the glam and all the great stuff, but they're not going to show the eye boogers, the terrible days, and the BGs, like you said, and the
Yeah.
throwing up on your kids or spouse or the bad days that they have and the cross eyes that they're getting from their spouses.
I think we try to keep it all in house. And I always told my husband, even if I'm mad at you to the world, that's another thing that we learned from the military. You fake it till you make it. Once you give access to your house, that boundary
Hmm.
is completely broken. And I think social media does do that for people. I know a couple of friends
Hmm.
that do that. And honestly, I thought their marriage was fine until they end up in divorce.
Hmm.
And I always
Yeah.
tell them, like, every time one of my friends gets married, I am so happy for them. I am a genuinely happy person, as grumpy as I can be in real. I tell you this from the heart. I wish everybody finds their perfect person that loves and takes care of them because that's something
Hmm.
and someone that's the only person in your life that you can choose. You can't choose
Yeah.
anybody else, but you can choose the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with.
Yeah.
And so what if it's yourself? Love it, embrace it. You don't need to be
Hmm.
like anybody else. That's a boundary
Yes.
that you need to learn, and it's really, really hard. Some of us got lucky, but honestly, marriage is not easy. You need to set boundaries. For example, I have a lot of guilt sometimes because I'm not always present for my husband. When I'm in my
Same.
PTSD moments and I just feel like laying in bed and
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a terrible day or I have a terrible migraine and he's maybe upbeat. He's at 100, I'm at 0, and he wants to go out and he wants to cut the grass and he wants to do that. And you want
Mm-hmm.
to express themselves and tell them like, hey, I'm having a bad day, but then you feel guilty about it because you feel like you need to be there and go through your pain and just deal with it because we're taught not to have the boundaries. We just
Mm-hmm.
are like, hey, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna deal with this. I'm gonna keep powering through. I got this.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a time where we need to normalize that it's okay not to be okay and to step back and take care of yourself. Because believe it or not, by you taking care of yourself, you're actually showing your family, your friend, that you care about them enough to take care of you. So then later on, you could help
Mm-hmm.
them out too.
Yeah.
And it's something really, really hard to deal with. At least for me,
Mm-hmm.
I know I need to control everything. And if I can't
Yeah, me
control
too.
it, I feel like I have lost the mission. I feel like I'm worthless sometimes. And I know it's really hard to say
Mm-hmm.
that, but I feel like I failed. And I think
Yeah.
that's part of the boundary that like the military doesn't teach you. Like it's not okay to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason why we're so wrapped up in the part of failure is because you always have that battle buddy that picks you up.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know, you always have somebody behind you that's going to pick up whatever you left behind. And in real life, we don't have that. Sometimes we are
Mm-mm.
that person for everybody. The person that needs to
Yes.
like be superwoman or super whatever you want to call yourself. And that's a big issue that we women have because then we let ourselves go.
Yeah, you end up losing your identity. And trust me, I did that. It is not a great place to be, ladies.
But now, do
Mhm.
you have any realistic boundaries, Jess?
Yes, that no is a complete sentence. No
Mm.
is a boundary. There's no compromising. There's no nope, no, not today. Okay. Telling people I'm not available whenever you need me to be available. I'm available when I'm available,
Yeah.
which is not right now, which that one's hard for me. The closer the person is, your inner circle, that's
Yeah.
very difficult for me to reconcile in my head. But sometimes you just gotta tell the person, I need space. I can't do this anymore because if I continue along this path, this is gonna push me so far back that I'm gonna lose myself again. And if they give a shit about you, if they really are a friend, they'll understand all of that, all the boundaries.
Yeah, I think for me, one of my realistic boundaries was when I was at my lowest. And I do give my little Viking husband all the props because one time I was like really sad and down on myself and I cared what everybody thought about me. And he sat me down and said, hey, who pays your bills? And I'm like, I do.
Mm, mm,
Who cares what anybody thinks of you? If they don't pay your bills, they don't worry about where you're going to eat the next day. Why does it matter what anybody else says? And that's when
yeah,
I honestly became to the realization that he was right. I mean, shit, he was onto something that I shouldn't care what anybody thinks of me. That the only person
yeah,
that should care about what thinks of me and needs to work on myself and put boundaries between me and people, it's me.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I do give him credit. He's actually amazing. Sometimes I do feel like I don't deserve him. And I don't know how, out of, I guess, a million people, why we ended up together. But we did, and I'm happy for it. And I honestly wanted everybody to feel that way. Okay, so now that we got real for a minute, how about we have some fun now, Jess? Jess actually was nice enough to give us some questions, and I
Yes.
will answer them. So there's no sugarcoating because I am the mean one. So I'll be the one answering. And we actually want you guys to follow along because sometimes we don't know what to say in certain situations, you know?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's a little fun segment to kind of like take us back to like throwing off all the bad juju and all the bad stuff that happens, you know, just
Hmm.
something fun. Jess is going to read the situations and we're going to pick a response. We're just going to say, we're going to mute the person. We're going to block them. We're going to pray for them. We're going to mini spiral. We need therapy and a snack.
All right. So, situation one, a family member calls you 5 times in a row and then text, wow, okay.
Oh man, I will mute that.
Yep. Mute with attitude.
And with a side eye because I do like that side eye.
All right. Situation two, someone texts, hey, then disappears for 6 hours.
I will block that sucker.
That's aggressive.
Don't text me and then disappear for hours. That is rude. If you need something, just let me know because I'm not going to be available for you all the time.
Oh, okay. Situation three, your spouse asks, what's wrong? After after the kids asked you 47 questions and the dog threw up.
At this point, I need therapy and a snack because I'm not, I'm gonna go crazy on you and you're not gonna like it.
That's totally fair. Situation 4. A friend only calls when her life is falling apart, but she never checks on you.
Sit down and pray on this one. I pray for me. You just wasted my time and you don't want to hear what I have to say.
Again, that's fair. All right, so situation 5. Someone shows up unannounced at your house, like today.
Yeah, so as you can see, I go on a minute spiral. Low crawl, turn everything off, and pretend I'm not home.
Yeah, exactly. Situation 6. Group chat going off 87 times while you're trying to rest.
Girl, I have my phone on mute all the time. As you can see from my previous episodes, I hate ringtones. So you will be muted.
Situation 7. Someone asks you for a favor after ignoring you for 3 fucking months.
It's better that way. Trust me. I wouldn't have enough time to tell you and curse you out. So I'd rather just block your number and hit you with a text message that says, "Who's this? New number?"
Diana.
Hey man, 3 months ago, like something could have happened to me. So why am I worried about you now? That's a
Oh my
boundary,
God.
don't you think?
Okay, that's fair. All right, last one. Your kid yells, Mom, from another room and doesn't answer when you say, What?
Girl, I don't have kids, but my husband does that and I immediately pretend I'm napping. So immediately nap.
I don't remember that being an option, but I love it.
Yeah.
Honestly, this whole segment was just to show you why boundaries matter.
Yes, they do matter, ladies. Like I said before, if you let somebody slap you once, they're going to do it again and again. And there's going to be no boundaries right there
Hmm.
at all.
Yep. And all jokes aside, I really want every woman that's listening to understand this. Boundaries are not proof that you're hard. Most of the time, boundaries are proof that you're finally healing.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone control your boundaries. They belong to you.
You're allowed to protect your energy. You are allowed to over explain it, which I am a over explainer. It's okay just not say, you know what? I don't want to do it. You don't have to
Hmm.
give a reason why. And as you can
Hmm.
see, I'm still working on myself. You also have to remember we're not in the military anymore. So just a simple no,
Mm.
like you said before, it's okay. You don't have to answer right away. We're going to probably think we're selfish for saying this. No, we're not. We're just protecting you and we're protecting ourselves.
Yes, I agree with that. And for everyone out there trying so hard to keep it together, needing space does not mean that you love your family any less. Okay. You need space for self care and
Yes.
sanity.
My God, yes. And it's okay that you're not okay. There's no
Hmm.
book that says, like, hey, you got to be a certain way. And I think we're wired to be a certain way because of what we see in TV and what the social norm is. Who cares what anybody
Hmm.
thinks at the end of the day?
Exactly.
You don't have to prove that you're recansada. And that means like super retired, or in Colombian word, remamada. It's okay to ask for help. You're
Hmm.
okay to ask for help.
Yeah. And definitely don't go back to the old version of yourself just to make someone else feel more comfortable. That's not okay. It's not okay for you. They might think it's okay, but no, we're not
Yeah.
letting that happen.
That version of you needs respect. Girl, every time that you feel overwhelmed, just clock out because honestly, we're not getting paid for overtime. We're not in the military
Hmm.
anymore. This is your life. You have control of your boundaries. And it's okay to say, hey, I'm tired. Not today.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
I try sometimes. Even though in my crazy accent, so some of you might not understand what I'm really saying, but it's okay. I do it with love.
I love your accent. This was episode 2 of Unfiltered and Unarmored. This podcast is for the women who served, the women still healing, and the women still trying to figure out who they are after survival mode.
Yes, ladies, we are not perfect. And honestly, what's the point of being perfect? If we all were the same, it would be no fun.
Mm.
We're just here to check in with you and make sure that you guys are okay, letting you know that you're not alone, that it's okay to feel the way we're feeling. And hopefully, this
Hmm.
actually helps you and helps us in the process as well, because we are a work in progress.
Heck yeah. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at Unfiltered Unarmored, and stay tuned for new episodes.
And ladies, feel free to send us a DM or an email. Tell us what you want to hear us talk about next.
Until next time,
Take care of yourselves and set them boundaries.
bye.